There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all gonna leave together. There's 1,000 of you tonight, and those that are watching, it's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to come on your show and for you to use your platform to give me a chance to just, add some context. Yeah. Some context and clarity to, a clip that, a whole lot of people have seen. Sadly, one of the things that has happened is, people have created a narrative that is absolutely not true. Number one, the narrative was created, that I raised money at my church, that I kept the people at my church hostage until I raised $40,000 for me. That's the narrative that has been shared, that I locked folks up in my church, that, I made them give $40,000 and I wouldn't allow them to leave until they gave it to me. And to be honest with you, that is absolutely false.
When you think of gospel music, you probably imagine uplifting songs, powerful voices, and a deep sense of community. You don't normally picture federal investigators or rumors of tax evasion. Yet here we are, with Marvin Sapp, famous for hits like Never Would Have Made It, suddenly caught up in a storm of allegations. The spark that lit this flame was a video where he asked for $40,000 at a church convention while urging ushers to close the doors. The backlash was massive, forcing Marvin to respond on social media as he tried to explain his actions and calm everyone down. But that response has only added fuel to the fire, with critics digging deeper and deeper into his personal life and finances. Before we jump into the details, keep in mind that these are still rumors and accusations. Nothing is confirmed in the court of law, and Marvin Sapp himself strongly denies any wrongdoing. However, the discussions online have been intense, with people talking about potential fraud, tax issues, and how his public statements might fit into all of this. Let's walk through the entire story, from the viral lock-in moment, to the fan outrage, to his biblical defense, and finally, to the swirling talk of investigations. We're about to explore all sides of this unfolding saga. By the end, you can decide if you believe Marvin's explanation or if you think there's something suspicious going on. Either way, what started as a simple act of offering in a church service has turned into a much bigger controversy than anyone expected. Everything began when a video clip surfaced showing Marvin Sapp at a convention in Baltimore. In the clip, he's seen instructing ushers to close the church doors, preventing people from leaving. He explains that he wants 1,000 individuals to donate $20 each, and another 1,000 watching online to do the same, so that they can reach a $40,000 goal. In the footage, Marvin doesn't appear to be joking. He's serious, calling the ushers to action, saying, "Close the doors, close the doors, close the doors." People in the audience look a bit stunned, but no one seemed to be standing up to challenge him openly. After all, he's a respected gospel artist and a presiding pastor of a church in Texas. Some folks might have been thinking, is this really happening? Or did I just step into a different kind of show? But there was no joking around. According to Marvin, this was about giving back, honoring God, and meeting a financial goal for the event. A big piece of this story is how watchers felt. Many say it felt less like a normal church offering and more like a standoff. Locking the doors, literally, as some claim, added an odd sense of force. While leaders often encourage donations, especially at church conventions, it was the tone and the final sum of $40,000 that caused eyebrows to raise. Marvin wasn't alone in this. Other leaders at the event also asked for money. One even suggested that 12 people give $800 each to receive new beginnings, and that 25 others give $500 for closure. If that sounds like a spiritual auction, plenty of onlookers agreed. But Marvin's moment was a scene stealer, the one that went viral and sparked an internet frenzy. Once that video hit the internet, the reaction was swift and intense. On social media, you had two camps: those who supported Marvin Sapp's approach, arguing that challenges to give are common in churches, and those who condemned it as holy extortion. Accusations surfaced that this wasn't about faith at all, but about filling the pockets of spiritual leaders at the expense of trusting churchgoers. Some argue that the entire scene reminded them of high-pressure sales tactics rather than a call to worship. Screenshots from the video looped on Twitter and Facebook with captions like, "When church starts feeling like a hostage situation." People shared memes, comedic sketches, and outrage posts. In the midst of the uproar, fans began demanding answers. They wanted to know if Marvin Sapp was truly locking people in until he reached his target. They wanted to know where the money would end up. Any pastor or public figure in this spot might try to explain themselves before things spiral out of control. But the more Marvin stayed silent, the more the online community speculated about hidden motives. That speculation only grew stronger once people started claiming that federal agencies and the IRS were checking into Marvin's finances. The internet loves a good scandal, and it didn't take long for some wild stories to pop up. Among them was a rumor that the IRS had started looking into Marvin Sapp's tax returns. People claimed that the $40,000 raise wasn't going to a church fund at all, but might have been headed straight into Marvin's own account. According to these rumors, once word got out that he was pocketing that money, allegedly of course, the IRS perked up its ears and began poking around. Now, this part remains unconfirmed. Marvin Sapp has not publicly stated that he's under investigation, and no official documentation has been shared to prove such a case exists. Still, the rumor kept spreading, fueled by screenshots of social media comments and videos from individuals who claim to have insider knowledge. Why do people believe it? Maybe because many have seen pastors and churches mismanage finances in the past. There's a history of big controversies involving prosperity gospel preachers, private jets, and questionable spending habits. So when Marvin Sapp's request for $40,000 circulated online, it was easy for skeptical viewers to assume the worst. That said, you have to remember, no official charges have been filed, and the entire story might be nothing but chatter. At this point, public opinion is shaped by short clips and secondhand info. Yet, in the age of viral media, that's often enough for accusations to take on a life of their own. In the face of growing pressure, Marvin Sapp finally addressed a controversy head-on. He posted on Facebook, starting out by saying he never intended to hold anyone hostage. He argued that there was a lot of missing context, and that critics were judging him based on a small snippet. He also leaned on scripture to defend the practice of setting a donation target. He cited the Book of Chronicles, where King David instructed leaders and the people to give a specific amount to build a temple. According to Marvin, the church tradition of challenging congregants to pledge a certain sum has biblical roots. He noted that he himself gave far more than $100 that night and expected other leaders to lead by example. In his statement, Marvin also said that when finances are being received in any worship gathering, it is one of the most vulnerable and exposed times for both the finance and security teams. He insisted that it wasn't about controlling people or forcing them to stay inside. Instead, he described it as a way to create a safe, focused, and reverent environment for those who were giving. While some people praised him for trying to set the record straight, others found his explanation unconvincing. They noted that he could have kept the environment safe without telling ushers to shut the doors so people couldn't leave. The conflict between his spiritual justification and the actual tone of the video remained too stark for many viewers. Even after Marvin posted on Facebook, the criticism kept rolling in, so he decided to speak more openly in interviews and on social media. He addressed everything from claims of greed, of stories about him allegedly pocketing church money. One highlight was his appearance on the Ricky Smiley morning show, where he said the controversy had gone from irritating to downright scary. According to him, people had started phoning his church to hurl insults and threats. He went on to say that he received messages from individuals claiming that they wanted to harm him or his loved ones, all because of a $20 offering request. He stressed that the entire situation was blown out of proportion, and that short videos don't capture the full meaning of church traditions. Marvin also insisted that he was well aware of how the video looked, but wanted people to realize that context is everything. In his words, the immediate outrage did more than threaten his safety. It also confused people within the church. Staff members were afraid to come to work, worried about violent phone calls or strangers showing up with bad intentions. Marvin claimed it was a prime example of how misleading social media can be when folks decide to judge a person without understanding the entire situation. Many remain unconvinced. Online commenters have said that if he never used such an aggressive tone, no one would have reason to twist the story. Some wonder if the threats are real or if he's using them to shift focus away from the rumors of potential fraud. The debate continues, fueling countless theories on message boards and in comment sections. If Marvin Sapp's portion of the conference seemed dramatic, it wasn't the only display of bold fundraising that weekend. Before Marvin stepped on stage, another bishop sparked controversy by calling for specific amounts of money in exchange for God's blessings. He claimed that 12 people needed to donate $800 each to usher in new beginnings, and that 25 more needed to give $500 to gain closure in their lives. He even asked them to use Venmo, making it feel more like a modern business deal than a sacred act of worship. Videos of this bishop's talk spread online, generating a parallel wave of outrage. Some joke that you could buy a life upgrade at the push of a button if you just had enough cash. Others defended the practice, saying that faith-based giving has always been a part of religious culture, especially in Christian communities. But when you stack these two moments together, Marvin's call for $40,000 alongside the bishop's talk of $800 and $500 blessings, it paints a dramatic picture of a church event that seemed to revolve heavily around money. While both men offered scriptural or spiritual explanations, the internet's takeaway wasn't so kind. Many watchers felt as if they were seeing two high-pressure sales pitches masquerading as calls to worship. This entire episode with Marvin Sapp has reignited discussions about trust and sincerity among church leaders. People who already have suspicions about prosperity ministries now feel more justified in their doubts. They see these fundraising methods as manipulative and question whether pastors are using faith to enrich themselves. On the flip side, those within Christian communities often argue that these controversies are nothing new. Jesus himself had strong words for religious leaders who focus on money and personal gain. Believers who support Marvin Sapp say it's unfair to paint all church giving as corrupt, especially when biblical texts do mention the importance of offerings. They claim that critics are missing the broader point about supporting ministry work, conference expenses, and charitable endeavors. The damaging publicity has made some of Marvin's longtime fans uneasy. Every viral video, every rumor about the IRS, and every angry post on social media makes it harder for people to stay loyal. If the church brand is hurt, that means fewer attendees, fewer donors, and less trust in the leadership. Some watchers speculate that if Marvin can't bury these rumors soon, it could mark a turning point in his career and reputation. It's important to remember that much of what's floating around online is rooted in speculation. There's no hard evidence of fraud, no confirmed IRS raid, and no official charges against Marvin Sapp. His supporters might say that the entire scandal is an overblown reaction to a cultural misunderstanding of how many traditional churches handle offerings. They'd argue that telling ushers to close the doors has been a firm yet acceptable practice for decades, aimed at keeping the service orderly. Meanwhile, detractors feel that the video is proof enough of a money-first mindset. They see Marvin's biblical defense as a convenient way to spin an obvious shakedown. And even if he didn't literally lock people inside the building, some still believe that using that language crosses a line. After all, no one wants to feel guilt-tripped in a place that's supposed to provide spiritual comfort. Then there's Marvin's claim that he and his staff have faced threats. If that's true, it's a disturbing result of how quickly anger can grow on social media. But for some skeptics, it also raises a question. Why would anyone threaten Marvin Sapp over this matter unless there's more to the story? That single query shows just how tangled these narratives have become. Where does this leave us? We have a famous gospel artist, known for uplifting songs in a storied career, suddenly dogged by controversy. We have a viral video that shows him commanding ushers to shut the doors until $40,000 is raised. We have people online claiming the IRS is involved. And we have Marvin Sapp insisting that he never meant to pressure anyone. He stands firm on his belief that this was a sincere, faith-based request. On top of that, there are claims about death threats, staff members living in fear, and critics calling him out for crossing ethical lines. Whether you see this as an unfair misunderstanding or a legitimate scandal depends on how you interpret the video and his explanations. Did he act in good faith but communicate poorly? Or is there something larger at play? Ultimately, the question becomes, where do we draw the line between an earnest call to support the church and a tactic that leaves people feeling manipulated? Spiritual communities rely on trust. Once that trust erodes, it's tough to rebuild. People who once admired Marvin Sapp for his music and leadership may be hesitant to donate again. They might even reconsider their relationship with organized religion as a whole. That's why it's so important to watch carefully how this situation develops. If official investigations prove these rumors false, Marvin might be able to reclaim his good name. But if any evidence of financial misconduct surfaces, well, let's just say the fallout will be massive. Until then, we wait and watch, scrolling through new videos, reading new posts, and piecing together a puzzle that might not have a clean finish. So now I want to hear your take. Do you think Marvin Sapp's response clears the air, or is he just dodging the tough questions? Did the doors really close only for security reasons, or was there a deeper motive at play? Let me know in the comments. Until the next video, take care, stay informed, and remember, the truth is often more complicated than any short video clip can show.